It isn't easy to find sustained success in the NFL. It's a hyper-competitive league, and it requires a true culture and organizational structure to achieve it. The NFL is not like the NBA, where only one or two stars will guarantee a winning season and a playoff berth. There are so many variables to a football team, both in terms of how many bodies are on the roster and how exactly they fit into the system. The result is that we see a pretty steady production amongst most teams over the years. But how do they stack up most recently? That is the question here. So, without further ado, let's take a look back at the NFL landscape over the last 5 years and rank how all 32 franchises have stacked up, performance-wise, wins and losses, and in terms of their general organizational competence. Number 32, Carolina Panthers. From 2020 through 2024, the Panthers have been dead last in total wins, being 24. That sounds bad on the surface, but look at it a click deeper and, well, they have averaged less than 5 wins a year for half a decade, and just barely cleared 1 Pro Bowl appearance across 5 drafts, meaning their prospects for the future are not looking much brighter going forward. Plus, the decision to trade a haul for Bryce Young and take him over CJ Stroud has, well, it's already aged poorly. There were some signs of life last season, but quite frankly, it is still touch and go. It has been ugly. Matt Rule's tenure was a disaster. Frank Reich didn't even make it a year. The offense has been lifeless. The defense, inconsistent. And, well, across the board, the organization has been hopelessly structurally bad. Number 31, Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals look like they might be building something under Cliff Kingsbury, with Kyler Murray under center. But that unraveled just as quickly as it was taking form. From 2020 to 2024, Arizona racked up 35 wins, missed the playoffs in 4 out of 5 years, and ranked very low in many of the key draft metrics. Kyler's ACL injury really derailed things, but the problem was bigger than just that. The front office couldn't draft, they couldn't develop, and, well, they couldn't keep veterans happy. Number 30, New England Patriots. The Belichick era ended with a whimper. The Cam Newton thing was, well, just quite frankly bizarre. Then there was a flash with Mac Jones, but he flamed out. And even once they pulled the plug on Bill and co., the Jared Mayo hiring was a bit of an embarrassment to him and the team. The offense has generally just been unwatchable, and the draft, which historically was a strength of the Pats, has not been able to mask how stale the operation has become. Drake May is starting to bring some hope, and getting Mike Vrabel to run the show should pay dividends, but these past 5 years were completely lifeless. Number 29, New York Giants. That 2022 playoff win was an illusion, to put it lightly. The offense has been broken for most of 5 years. They missed on Daniel Jones, missed on Evan Neal, and failed to build an identity. Dable had a spark early, but man, the regression came fast. A team with big market expectations and bottom-tier execution. Number 28, New York Jets. If preseason hype counted in the standings, the Jets would have won 3 Super Bowls by now. But the actual results, oh man, just pain. They've added great pieces with Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson through the draft, but when you factor in the QB double whammy of Rodgers and Zach Wilson, well, it's hard for Jets fans to smile. Number 27, Las Vegas Raiders. When you talk about chaos, the Raiders are one of the first NFL teams that come to mind. Too much dysfunction, too little return. John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, and a parade of bad decisions. Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, and one of the worst draft results in the league. 2024 showed signs of life, but this era was defined by blown chances and front office failure. They've had all of that scandal and none of that spice. Number 26, Chicago Bears. It's been a rotating door at quarterback in the Windy City, and as a result, just 1 playoff berth to show for it. And that was the 8-8 Trubisky year in a pandemic. They tried to turn the page with Justin Fields, but he never got the support that he needed, and their once ferocious defense dropped off. Now it's Caleb Williams' show, but even the first act got off to a bit of a dicey start. The reset button is quick, but it ain't a painless process, that is for darn sure. Number 25, Tennessee Titans. It looked like the Titans were building something for a while there behind Mike Vrabel, and they peaked in 2021 and then fell hard. The offensive line eroded, Tannehill aged, and the A.J. Brown trade broke something in that locker room. The rebuild is on now, but they wasted 2 solid years of Derrick Henry's prime in the process before shipping him out, and even with Cam Ward as the #1 pick in last year's draft, well, there just isn't much to be excited about in Music City. Number 24, Denver Broncos. Remember when Russell Wilson was the missing piece? Well, it turns out he was more the discarded cigarette that sparked the fire. The Hackett year was a disaster, to put it lightly. Even Sean Payton struggled to turn this ship around. Though, now that Russell Wilson has been jettisoned out effectively and he's got a hand-picked quarterback in Bo Nix, it does look like the franchise's fortunes are starting to turn. Number 23, Washington Commanders. The most dysfunctional ownership in football finally got cleared out, but not before 5 years of quarterback purgatory, coaching limbo, and missed playoff windows. Last year, with the run that Jaden Daniels took them on, well, that felt like their payoff for finally clearing out Dan Snyder and cleaning up the riffraff that was poisoning the franchise from top to bottom. Let's just hope that they can keep it up. Number 22, New Orleans Saints. They tried to delay the rebuild after Breeze retired, and it didn't work. The roster aged, the cap got messy, and Dennis Allen didn't have the juice to lead a turnaround. Chris Olave was a gem, but the Saints mostly hovered around mediocrity with no long-term vision. And following Derek Carr's surprise retirement, it looks like things could get much worse before they get any better. Number 21, Cleveland Browns. The crazy thing about Cleveland is that they've been floating around the middle of the league in terms of wins over the last 5 years, thanks to what has generally been a great defense. But man, everything else has just been so ugly, particularly the Deshaun Watson trade that cost them picks, flexibility, and of course, their dignity. Due to all that, we simply cannot put them any higher on this list. Number 20, Atlanta Falcons. They had chances to win a bad NFC South and couldn't get out of their own way. Drafted skilled talent, misused it, and never found a quarterback. The Kirk Cousins gamble was a flop, and now it's all eyes on Michael Penix Jr. That needs to work because the last 5 years certainly did not. And this fan base has to be growing impatient. Number 19, Jacksonville Jaguars. From Urban Myers to Doug Peterson, it felt like rock bottom. Yes, the comeback win over the Chargers in the 2022 playoffs was electric. And yes, Trevor Lawrence has had his moments. But that's where the good times end. They haven't protected Trevor, they haven't built up the defense, and they haven't taken advantage of their window. Number 18, Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks were never terrible, but they were never great either. Geno's 2022 comeback was a revelation. The defense got younger, faster, better, but they just plateaued. Pete Carroll left with dignity, but not a ton of postseason production. They did hit on a few studs, Woolen, Witherspoon, but they couldn't turn solid talent into real NFC power. It felt like we were always waiting for that leap that just never came. Number 17, Indianapolis Colts. Post-Andrew Luck purgatory, the Colts threw darts at the veteran QB board, having flings with Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, and eventually went through the draft with Anthony Richardson, who, is not looking particularly promising. Jonathan Taylor has been great, but the roster just never gelled. Not awful, just painfully average. Number 16, Los Angeles Chargers. 5 years of Justin Herbert, 1 playoff appearance, 1 unforgettable choke job, and not much else. This was a team that should have been a threat. They had stars, they had leads, they just couldn't hold either. Injuries, poor coaching, and an allergy to clutch moments defined this era. Harbaugh's in now to clean it up, but whew, that stench? Wasted potential. Number 15, Green Bay Packers. Credit to the Packers. Transitioning from one franchise quarterback to another without setting the place on fire has historically been a challenge for most teams. But Jordan Love has showed signs that he's ready to be the guy going forward, and the offense came to life. Number 14, Dallas Cowboys. Despite having a load of talent, the Cowboys have been a disastrous team when it matters most. Parsons, Lambs, Diggs, the stars are there, but year after year, they folded in January, assuming that they even make it there. Number 13, Miami Dolphins. Tua has had his moments, but when he was hot, Tyreek was a cheat code. But 2 playoff appearances, 2 flameouts, and a defense that never quite showed up when it mattered, all gas, no finish line. A very disappointing result for a team that has had the 12th most regular season wins over the last 5 years. Number 12, Pittsburgh Steelers. Sure, Mike Tomlin kept the streak alive. I mean, no losing seasons. But it sure hasn't felt like the Steelers have been a real threat in some time. Sure, they've found ways to win, they've leaned on defense and always stayed in the fight, but they've stopped at the stable and have been nowhere near spectacular. Number 11, Houston Texans. With the way that the Deshaun Watson situation was unraveling, it looked like things were going to deteriorate badly in Houston. But CJ Stroud turned them around faster than anyone expected. Add in Will Anderson, Tank Dell, and D'Amico Ryan's leadership, and this team went from a rebuild to a rising powerhouse in 12 months. Number 10, Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow turned them into contenders overnight, but he also got hurt twice, and when he was gone, they looked completely lost.
but back-to-back playoff runs, including a Super Bowl appearance, keeps them high on this list.
Number 9, Minnesota Vikings. This was the team that almost mattered a lot. Over and over again. Kirk Cousins put up numbers. Justin Jefferson turned into the best receiver on the planet, and yet it just always felt like they were just there. Kind of like last year when they were dominant all season behind Sam Darnold and just sort of fell apart when it mattered most. Now they are both gone, and it'll come down to JJ McCarthy. Number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady made them champions in 2020, and they stayed relevant even after he left. Baker Mayfield revitalized his career, and the defense has remained steady. And well, that offense was also way more fun than I think anyone had expected. Number 7, Baltimore Ravens. Consistent, disciplined, dangerous. Not to mention an absolute game wrecker in Lamar under center. Baltimore has been among the best in the game over the last 5 years. All that is missing at this point is the ring. Number 6, Los Angeles Rams. They've got the ring, and you know, that's what matters. But after 2021, it looked like the wheels sort of came off. The injuries piled up, the roster thinned, and the lack of high picks finally caught up. They do deserve credit for staying competitive not too long thereafter. Les Snead somehow rebuilt on the fly. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Jared Verse. They stayed competitive in 2024, but still, the last 5 years were a case study in worth it. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers. A bit of a weird one. They won 47 games, made a Super Bowl, and had 3 NFC title game appearances. But they also made one of the worst trades in recent memory in Trey Lance, and despite having always been elite, they have also always come up just one step short. Yes, again, because few teams were as dominant in terms of overall performance. They had sustained success in an NFC that was always wide open. And despite the Lance misstep, they drafted and developed like pros. And thankfully, they managed to do it without ever bottoming out. Number 4, Detroit Lions. From 3-13-1 to NFC Championship contenders, Dan Campbell changed the culture. Brad Holmes nailed draft after draft. Sewell, Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Laporta. 5 years ago, they were a complete joke. But now, they are a team that nobody wants to face. Number 3, Buffalo Bills. They've been knocking on the door for 5 straight years. Josh Allen is elite. The defense has been top tier. But golly, the heartbreaks are stacking up. 13 seconds, snow games, shootouts they couldn't close. But the pain of it all? 61 wins, 0 Super Bowl trips. Seriously, this team is so good. They just gotta get over the hump. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. What a stretch it's been for the Eagles over the last 5 years. We've seen Jalen Hurts blossom into a star, and they have the most dominant trenches in the league. The overall resume? 3 NFC Championship appearances, 2 Super Bowl trips, and 52 wins. Yeah, I'd say that's top tier. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on, there's no surprise here. 66 wins, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 2 rings, Mahomes, Kelsey, Reed, and a front office that kept it rolling with smart retools on defense and the O-line. This wasn't just the team of the last 5 years, this has been the team of the era. But hey, what NFL team do you think has the best team owner? Who do you think has the worst? Was there anything that we may have missed here? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.